Hey guys, what's up? Max here. Obviously not in the office. Well, we're on an office downtown, but it's not nearly as cool. We got a lot of people in there, so I had to find we have a focus room in here. It's a little more relaxing. I come here privately and just focus and think, right? So today's tip happening in the focus room downtown. Now, the last 2 days we've talked about personalization and polarization and some copy strategies, and that's great, right? All important things. Today I want to talk about something that's really important, and it goes beyond just ad copy. It goes beyond just your messaging and your creative, and it goes across your entire business. And I think this is something a lot of media buyers, frankly, a lot of marketers, a lot of business owners don't necessarily think about when they jump into paid traffic, because it's so tempting to get hooked into the loopholes and the hacks and the little tricks here and there and the ways to game the system and the trends and the things that work for the next month but never work after that. And it's tempting to go down that path, right? Because those get instant results. And it's hard sometimes to take a step back and think at a macro level, to look at my entire business, my entire marketing plan. Because remember, Facebook is just a traffic channel. YouTube is just a traffic channel. TV is just a traffic channel, right? They're all just mediums, and they're all just means to get somebody that's not heard of your business before or hasn't bought from you before to your website to buy, right? They're just tools. They're just paths. They're roadways, right? With the sign at the end saying, come here and look at me, right? And so we need to go beyond just singular focus and just focusing on individual traffic channels and think about the buyer journey, the user journey. And the most important aspect of successfully setting this up, in my opinion, and there's a lot of important things, don't get me wrong, but one of the most important, probably the most important, is consistency, AdSense, familiarity, right? And having that consistent brand voice. So think about it. If somebody goes into an Apple store in New York, and then they fly across the world and they go into an Apple store in Singapore, and then they go to London and they go into an Apple store there, and then they go on to apple.com, or they open any of Apple's apps, right? What are they gonna see? What are they gonna get? They're gonna get the exact same experience. No matter what store they walk into, no matter what website they're on, no matter what app they're on, they are going to get a consistent experience. The branding, the feel, the look, the service, the interactions with employees, with chat personnel, with support personnel, it is going to be consistent. You know you're in an Apple store. You know you're interacting with Apple as a brand. The same thing's true with any big brand, right? Whether it's Nike or Coke or Under Armour, right? Any of these brands that you interact with, you will have a consistent experience no matter where you interact with a brand. No matter if it's a Facebook ad, whether it's a retail store, whether it's a billboard, whether it's a TV ad, whether it's celebrity endorsement, you are going to get, hey, this is Nike. You know that out of the gate, right? And so as marketers, as business owners, I know it's tempting to look at what the gurus are doing, right? What the people who are doing tens of millions of dollars are doing, or even a few $1 million. That's what a lot of people in our industry look at. But I want to look at what the $1 billion companies are doing. What are the $100 billion companies doing? What are the $500 billion companies doing? How are they marketing, right? What are they doing? Because that's, obviously they figured out something that works and didn't just work for a month or a year, but worked for decades. You don't build a $500 billion company in a year or a few months, right? And you don't build it off of one trick or one hack. And so when you're putting together your Facebook ads, when you're putting together your funnel, when you're putting together your email sequences, your messenger sequences, when you're talking to your call center people, you need to understand, what is our brand voice? What's our identity? Who are we, right? How do we communicate with prospects? What's that tone of voice going to be? Are we going to be humor? Are we going to be sarcastic? Are we going to be serious? Are we going to be snarky? Are we going to be witty? How are we going to handle trolls? How are we going to handle negative comments? How are we going to respond to positive comments? These are all things that you need to understand as a business owner, as a marketer, and it needs to be documented. Because if it's not documented, if it's not turned into a system, you can't train other people to do that. And if you can't train other people to do that, you can't have consistency. You can't be confident that your brand is going to be marketed and promoted and shared in the way you want it to be all across the world as you grow. So this is something that I think everybody should do before, and frankly, this should be my first video. This shouldn't even be video number 3. This should be video number 1, because this is something that you need to do before you spend a single dollar in advertising, right? So right now, if you can't confidently say, this is how we write copy, this is our tone of voice, this is how we handle trolls, this is the type of humor we're gonna use, type of seriousness we're gonna use, this is how we're gonna write language in our emails, this is who our emails are gonna be from personality-wise. If you can't say any of those things, you can't answer those questions, you need to stop this video once it's done and go and do some thinking, right? And you need to come up with that. You need to be able to clearly say, this is who we are, right? And obviously that's easier when it's a personal brand. Like for me, it's who I am. And even that some people don't do, right? Even some personal brands, they try to do what Russell Brunson's doing, or what Sam Ovens is doing, or what Billie Jean is doing. And it's not them, it's not authentic, right? So you need to, even at a personal brand level, stop trying to be other people and be who you are. And that needs to be consistent, because you can see that sometimes in people that I follow that have personal brands, where like, hey, this email doesn't sound like them. This ad doesn't sound like them. It's not flowing, right? So when I see this video, it doesn't match the landing page copy, and then it doesn't match the email copy I get. And because of that, it feels strange to me. It feels off. I can't build a relationship with somebody that's different every time I communicate with them. And that's huge, especially early on with your marketing. You need to be able to build relationships. You need to be able to foster that engagement, that nurturing that's happening. And if you can't do that, then you're gonna have big problems, right? And it's hard to do that if the person that the customer is talking to or the prospect's talking to is different every time. And there's not consistency in how they're being talked to, and the messaging and the tone, right? All those things can significantly damage that user journey and decrease the likelihood that they're gonna actually get to the end of that journey and pull the trigger and buy, right? So to recap, the user journey, the customer journey, the prospect journey is absolutely critical. And in order to have a successful journey that ends with the result that you want to end with, you need to start thinking like Apple and Nike and Coke and the brands that have that identity down to a T. They have that identity locked. Everybody who works for that company knows what they stand for. They know the tone they take. They know the brand identity, the voice, all those things, right? And so you're gonna get that experience no matter where you interact with that brand. You need to start doing that for your brand, and that needs to be demonstrated in your ad copy, in your funnels, on your websites, in your own marketing, everything that you do, every touch point you have with your customers, no matter how small, even the button copy you use should be reflective of your brand and your voice, right? So that's tip number 3. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you're loving these, make sure you be on the lookout tomorrow, because we're dropping tip number 4, and guess what happens after that? Tip number 5, and we're going all the way through for tip number 15. So make sure you come back every day and check out the next tip. Thanks.